must not charge any fee. I think that when you take all five together, they have hit up on all the necessary themes.
And
the policy of no corporal punishment in these institutions must be followed faithfully.
You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Anthony Morgan. The state's policy on corporal punishment and no auxiliary fees were among Prime Minister Andrew Holness's talking points Wednesday as he opened the newly constructed Jamaica-China Goodwill Infant School in West Central St. Andrew. The 180-capacity school was completed in August. Mr. Holness reminded school administrators who receive government subventions that they must adhere to the state's removal of auxiliary fees. Speaking specifically to the early childhood level, Prime Minister Holness pointed out that the Charter of Rights under the Constitution guarantees free access to pre-primary education for all Jamaican children.
As we move along this path, expanding infant schools, we will be fulfilling our constitutionally established obligation to the children of Jamaica to provide them with free pre-primary education.
Railing against the corporal punishment in schools, particularly at the early childhood level, the Prime Minister said the practice entrenched and legitimized violence.
We have been literally saying to our children, a slap is right. When that child leaves, then a kick is right, a stab is right, and then shooting is right. And it is utter nonsense to say, well, I get slapped and I never turn out that way. Utter rubbish. Because people who have been slapped have turned out that way. And it only takes one to create the violence and mayhem.
Mr. Holness, who is the Member of Parliament for the area in which the school is built, announced that construction would be starting on a new police station this month. He said land was also being sought to build a facility for a Golden Age home in the constituency. The Prime Minister used Wednesday's basic school handover ceremony to assure Jamaicans that they need not fear the island's increasing engagements with China.
I don't think that there needs to be any fear-mongering. The government of Jamaica has been very strategic. And the sovereignty of Jamaica is always foremost in my mind. So when we engage with that as a non-negotiable part of the partnership.
On Tuesday, Prime Minister Holness engaged the 5 finalists in the Houses of Parliament design competition on their vision for the building, which is to be built at the National Heroes Circle. The Prime Minister was joined by the Parliamentary Steering Committee, which is providing guidance to the architects. During the meeting, he challenged the 5 finalists to not only make their designs iconic, but also practical, paying close attention to security, energy efficiency, and cost to the Jamaican people. Mr. Holness said he also expected the winning design to symbolize the dreams and aspirations of the Jamaican people.
It has to have a certain sense of reverence, that we are going to respect it, and that it is also respectful of the people, and therefore access and transparency is critical. But we must recognize where we live. We live in an area where we are becoming increasingly vulnerable. So we have to build for vulnerabilities and for resilience.
At a recent meeting chaired by the Prime Minister, the National Security Council ordered a comprehensive review of the parole process within the Department of Corrections. The audit will be executed by the Ministry of National Security. It follows concerns raised by the security forces, who argue that parole has been granted to some offenders whose criminal records are contrary to the public's interest. While the review is being conducted, the National Security Council has called for strong interim measures to be considered. Prime Minister Holness told the meeting that the state's foremost priority remained the assurance of community safety. He was, however, firm in government's commitment to the rehabilitation and reintegration of reformed prisoners back into the society. Still at Jamaica House Wednesday, Mr. Holness met with a delegation from JAMPRO led by the chairman, Senator Don Webby. The Prime Minister was updated on efforts to rebrand the country as a center for business, industry and tourism. He also held talks with the new French ambassador to Jamaica. And on Thursday, Mr. Holness engaged in talks with executives from the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association. Thursday also saw a meeting with the Premier of Turks and Caicos, Charlene Cartwright-Robinson. Also this past week, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Darrell Vaz, reiterated the state's commitment to drive private sector-led growth.
That is why we pursue an active policy to seek private sector participation in economic growth and the development activities. This is ultimately a win-win situation for both the government and the private sector.
In line with that commitment, Minister Vaz disclosed that several government assets had been shortlisted for privatization. Among them, lands at Silver Sands Estate in Trelawney, Wigton Wind Farm in Manchester, and the assets of the Coffee Industry Board. The minister said these would be finalized by March 2019. He meanwhile revealed that government was assessing the feasibility of incorporating more private sector investment into the operations of the Milk River Mineral Spa and Hotel, as well as the Bath Fountain Hotel and Spa. At the same time, he sought to dispel the view that foreign entities were overrunning local investors, revealing that since 2009, at least 70% of the transactions managed by the Development Bank of Jamaica had been taken up by local investors.
Public-private partnership have the potential to provide opportunities to facilitate private sector finance and, more importantly, create efficiencies in not just construction, but also the operation and maintenance of world-class public infrastructure.
Minister Vaz was speaking at Money Masters Limited's Conversation with the Analysts Breakfast Forum on Tuesday. The function was held under the theme, Opportunities for Local Financing of Jamaica Infrastructure Development. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.